Thanks, everybody, for being here today for our Friday conversation, and thanks, everybody, online as well. Got an awesome speaker today. I've gotten to know Ben for the last couple months, maybe a year or so, but this is the first time we're actually in person together. So
it's the world of technology.
It is.
Yeah.
But we're grateful to have Ben Young, CEO at Vozzi. Thanks for being here, Ben.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming, everybody. If you leave early, I won't blame you, but please stay as long as you can. It makes me feel good, you know?
We'll get into the story of Vozzi and, especially sports. You've got probably a lot of experiences with different teams, but before we get into all that, tell us about yourself. Where are you from?
So I was an Army brat growing up. My dad served in the military for 24 years, retired as a colonel. Ended up here in Utah, obviously because of his religion, and grew up here for most of my life, but would never trade what I learned from being dragged around the country and actually even to Korea. My mom left me on a bus in Korea when I was a baby because she had 5 other kids to get off the bus. So even those experiences made me who I am, getting left on a bus in Korea. But so yeah, ended up here most of my life and been here the rest of my
I feel like I want to know how that story ends.
My oldest brother is 17 years difference, and he chased the bus down and got me off the bus. So it was there you go. I could be lost in Korea right now if it wasn't for him. So I owe him my life.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Yeah, so am I.
The company is founded here in Utah.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And why do you love doing business here in Utah?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody knows it's very entrepreneurial friendly. The support, government support, the business-oriented mindset, it's super important. And if you don't have that and you don't have that infrastructure, I mean, you won't be successful. So it's just one of those that when you feel it, and we felt it here, and we just decided to keep it going.
That's cool. And so from what I looked at online, you came from Zions Bank for a while, right? What were you doing at Zions Bank?
Yeah, so I was running a commercial lending department, so was doing small business loans for entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And learned very quickly that I don't fit within the regulation box of banking, and I wanted to be on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And so I left banking and kind of jumped over to the entrepreneur side.
That's cool. We'll get into what it's like being an entrepreneur and starting a company, everything. But tell us about Vozzi. What does Vozzi do?
What does Vozzi do? I have people here that could tell you better. So Vozzi, we help professional, minor league, and collegiate sports teams, and then entertainment organizations sell tickets, merchandise, events via text message. So our whole goal is to get any kind of sales or marketing campaign right to your end user's handset. Because we know, 75 to 80% of people right now prefer to shop and purchase online. And so our whole goal is to, within 3 seconds, make it so that you can get your message out to your fan base.
Mm-hmm. And is there I heard you chatting with somebody about it a minute ago, but is there a story behind the name Vozzi?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's one of those tech names that everybody comes up with, but we do have, so Voz in Spanish means voice. I didn't like Vozzi, thought that was weird, and so we changed it to Vozzi. So it's a play on like giving your customers a voice.
That's cool.
But it still has that weird tech ring to it,
Yeah. Isn't it funny? I feel like Utah companies, if they have they have to add one letter that shouldn't be there.
Oh, yeah.
Just because.
That's what we do. That's what I did. So I fit in the mold.
Perfect. So, early on, when you and your team were starting this company, was the plan to always go into sports, or was the idea to just create a texting system? Because this is an industry that is been around for a little while now, and seems like there's a dime a dozen when it comes to texting platforms.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we found that sports and entertainment were very stuck in their ways. There wasn't a lot of innovation. Obviously, there's companies here in our backyard, other billion-dollar brands that did a really good job educating the industry as a whole, like multiple industries, on what text messaging can do and the power of it. But sports was late to adopt. So we found this little niche, sports entertainment, that we knew that if we focused and were laser focused and, fulfilled the pain points, that we could really kind of gain a market share.
Yeah.
And so we just jumped in and went after it.
Was there a first team that you landed that deal and your team knew that from there on it was going to be sports?
Yeah, it's weird. The Utah Grizzlies here in Utah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so they were actually customer number one.
Yeah.
And we just learned through different trial and error how to communicate to fans, and the returns came. And then the second time they did it, the return came again, and they were blown away, and
yeah.
we knew we had something.
Speaking of hockey, you excited about our new NHL team?
100%. And you all better have named your favorite name, because there's some crazy ones out there.
There are some wild ones.
Yeah.
You got a favorite vote?
I do. I voted, and I think the Venom would be the coolest.
Yeah.
And if you ever hear this, it cannot be the Yeti. The Avalanche own the Yeti footprint. So please pass on to Ryan. It cannot be the Yeti. We can't copy the Avalanche.
When I think of Yeti, I still just can't. I always think of the Yeti cooler logo. Like, that will always be Yeti in my mind.
They have done a cool thing. Austin, Texas, that's where they're located, and they've really done some cool stuff there. But yeah, same with me.
Yeah.
Can't be Yeti, Ryan, if you hear this somehow.
So, you got the Grizzlies, and then you took off from there. In an industry where oftentimes tech companies can grow too fast, how did you guys? Was it you're just cold calling in ticket offices and leadership within organizations and saying, hey, we want to help you? Like, how did you guys grow?
Yeah, it's actually fascinating. So employee 1, 2, and 3 are here today, so they'll really enjoy this. That wasn't meant to be, but they are here today. And we had a 2-office place in Holiday, Utah. We sat around a conference table. We brought in some rinkety table for Curtis and put him in the corner. And we literally would just make a phone call, and then we'd critique each other. And then we'd make another phone call to his team or an entertainment group, and we'd critique each other. Yeah. And for about a year, that's all we did. We just literally would go to the MILB website.
Who are you calling? Within a team's organization, because they're massive.
Oh, yeah. So we would call. So really, there's 3 people that we work with. It's either the senior vice president of IT or marketing or sales.
Yeah.
And 90% of the time, they don't want to talk to you, and you just keep calling them until they'll listen. And
grind it.
Yeah, we just went after it.
Good for you guys. That's really cool. I've been in that role of, I guess we could call it like the SDR role almost, just pounding out those phone calls. But, who was team 2? Do you remember who was the second team?
Oh, geez. The Jacksonville Icemen.
Oh, no way. Okay. Yeah. And from there, these are organizations that are pretty complex. What's it like? You looking at your website, you guys work with like the Tennessee Titans. Yeah. What's it like, the sales cycle with an NFL team? That can't be easy.
No, it's cool. The really another reason why we did do sports entertainment is it's a very tight knit, even though it's vast and it's like powerful. It's a very tight knit group. So when you land one company or one team, ultimately another team will hear about you. Mm-hmm. And so normally it's a warm lead that somebody's introduced, from one of our other teams, and we make a phone call. They then become our champion, and then again you have to get buy-in from multiple business units within an organization. And then once we get the buy-in, you then have legal, and legal's sorry if there's any attorneys. Legal's always the pain point.
Yeah.
Texting and FCC regulations that we have to abide by is always kind of a scary word for people. Once you get past legal, then it's all about implementation. You're implementing through multiple business units. It is very complex.
Yeah. So take the Titans, or I don't know if you have a favorite example, but walk us through like what your system is actually doing for them from like a customer endpoint.
Yeah. So Ben Young, VP of Ticket Sales, logs into Vozzi. We are integrated with virtually every ticketing platform in the country, so Ticketmaster, Tickets.com, Paciolan, SeatGeek, whoever. Mm-hmm. You create your ticketing campaign or your marketing campaign or your whatever campaign you want. You plug it into the Vozzi system through the integration, and within 3 seconds you can send that out to 5 people to 20 million people. And our system on the back end with our algorithm is delivering the text compliantly and accurately to the phone numbers. That's it.
Yeah, so it's ticket sales, it's selling merch, it's
premium merchandise, food and beverage, tickets,
I'm
events.
assuming targeting specific target audiences within your fan base,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So, there is a ton of freaking money in sports.
A ton.
How much money? Say take a team that's well known, and pretty popular. I mean, how much of the revenue is actually coming from them just being a popular team versus actually using systems like you guys that are driving that revenue?
Yeah, and I have to be careful using specific names here, just
Sure.
with who we work with. But we have it is top 5 market in all of the NHL team that's in this market, and you would think in a market like that they wouldn't need a tool like us, right? It's 3rd largest market in NHL, and we make up 22% of their ticket sales.
Wow.
So, I mean, whether it's them or we have teams like the Trash Pandas or the Traverse Pit Spitters, like very, very minor league teams, festival organizations that are very geographic, oriented, and we make up 60% of their ticket sales or merchandise sales. So that's what we love about us, and what people love about us is it doesn't matter whether you're the largest brand or the smallest brand, we're going to help you out.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite? You probably can't answer this, but is there a team that you've loved working with?
Absolutely.
All of them.
All of them. Every one of them. No, we really we've been really lucky. The front offices and the athletic departments that we work with are second to none.
Outside of work, what's your favorite team?
Oh gosh, I'm a avid, huge Cleveland Browns fan. Huge.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, my all of my employees love it though, because they're like, dude, if you're loyal to the Browns, we're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? So, yeah, they're painful, but I love them.
Yeah. It's all right. I'm a BYU fan. Very, very painful. So.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, to take a couple steps back here, as the industry is continuing to evolve and grow, would love to know from your experience, what are teams not doing that you think they should be doing, and what does the landscape look like over the next decade within sports entertainment, specifically within communication software?
Yeah, that's the thing. Teams they're very behind technology, right? They've been making cold calls and emails for the past 50 years. They just barely started doing social media marketing and whatnot. And so for us, we feel like we have a good what we would call runway in the sports industry, where nothing is going to go from your mobile handset. I think mobile handset for the next 10 years is going to be the crucial element for sports innovation. Obviously, you're going to have that hot word, AI. I hear it every day from our product team. They want AI. They want to push AI, and that's going to be a big part of it. But the cool thing about text messaging and MMS messaging is they're coming up with new technologies on that side. So we feel like we have a really good grasp and a good runway for the next 10 years to make a meaningful impact before we really have to do much more innovation on our side.
Yeah. I'm curious, are you seeing that they're all following similar patterns? I mean, you take the NBA, NHL, MLB, are any of them ahead of the curve as far as, software?
Yeah, it's wild. Hockey is way more innovative than others.
Wouldn't have thought that. Okay.
No one does. I mean, but the NBA and the NFL, rightfully so, have an arrogance about them that they don't need anything more than what they have. And hockey feels like they need to catch up, and they're very innovative.
Yeah, I would not have thought it would have been the NHL.
Yeah.
Between the differences between working with NFL, NHL teams versus small teams, is there? Take Utah for example. A small, quote unquote, small market team like take the Jazz. Is there a huge difference in how they approach using using texting with a local audience versus a large market team, say the Lakers, who just have a ton more bodies within a regional demographic area? Is it just more people to text, or do you see the Jazz, for example, getting very granular in how they're texting their fan base?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, and you're right on. I mean, it's when you have a huge market like LA or Philadelphia or Chicago, it's more of a cast a net, right? It's wide. Just build our database to millions of users, properly opted in users, right, Drew? Properly opted in users, and just blast different campaigns, different sales, and just it's all volume based.
Yeah.
The Jazz, they're actually really fun to work with. They're a customer of ours. They're really fun to work with because they're considered small market. Ryan's doing a hell of a job making them a bigger market team, but they don't have the database that an LA has or Chicago, so they have to get very, very kind of laser focused and make their campaigns powerful. But the Jazz are one of the most successful teams on our platform, and it's because in these smaller markets you have fanhood is like becoming cultish, right? Where LA it's the cool thing to do. I'm a Lakers fan, whatnot, but the Jazz, we are cult following basically here. I mean, that's what these small market teams have as an advantage to those large markets.
Oh, that's interesting. And with colleges, take University of Utah athletics, are they texting their students discounts? Is it trying to get within the school specific target markets, or what do colleges use it for?
Yeah, colleges it's multiple students, alumni, donors, fans. It's all over the place. We do have a really cool feature. We're partnered with a group called GovX. It's a real-time kind of verifying system. So a lot of colleges use our product to verify that you are a student or you're a frontline employee or a teacher, and they do a really good job segmenting their data and really giving certain offers to those segmented kind of groups within the system.
Okay. And sorry to bring up the topic of AI, but as sports evolves, how do you see teams utilizing AI to reach these audiences?
Yeah, I mean, again, teams only have a certain amount of bandwidth. I mean, AI is a phenomenal resource to automate process, right? To collect data, to know what behaviors are happening. And so that's where I see AI really impacting this space, is that the data collection and the knowledge that it can give us and spit out to remarket, retarget is where AI is going to come in big time.
Yeah. I can't even imagine how much data you guys have just from working with some of these larger teams. I mean, there's probably millions of phone numbers.
Yeah, it's crazy.
In some of these teams.
Yeah, it's insane. And I mean, there's
to send out a text and have it go to millions of fans is pretty wild to think about. I mean, I would be that person that accidentally autocorrects something and says something inappropriate to a million people.
Our system can prevent that from happening. So that's why you use a group like Vozzi, so that you don't do that very thing.
Yeah.
Whether it's me, Matt, Drew, Curtis, whoever is within the organization, your text is going to be compliant. The content's going to be accurate, and we're going to make sure that it's right.
I have to tell this story real quick, but my favorite example of a text gone wrong was my wife and I and my family were in Hawaii several years ago when the nuclear threat happened. We're literally in our hotel room early that morning, get a text that says, "Nuclear missile inbound, seek shelter immediately." And it wasn't until freaking 45 minutes later that they're like, "This was an accident, sorry."
An accident.
And people were putting their kids in storm drains and taking boats out to the middle of the ocean because it's we're on an island. Where do you go?
I hope they left that texting company.
And that went to the entire state of Hawaii.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy.
Texting can be powerful.
Yes.
I'd love to hear just for a couple minutes before we open it up to the audience about your experience as an entrepreneur. There had to be lows, and there had to be obviously huge highs, closing deals with some of these teams. Talk about, during some of those lows, how you and your team managed to just continue through an industry that's quite honestly pretty competitive. How did you guys work through that and scale?
Yeah, and I mean, to me, this is one of the most important elements of business. Humbly, I would consider us the market leader in sports entertainment when it comes to texting, and there's still lows on a daily basis, right? And so we can't ever forget where we came from around that table and having people tell us, no, we don't know who you are, to now them knowing us, and still we just lost one of our biggest teams 2 weeks ago. And that is not fun. And you sit here from the top down and you think, what the hell did we do to lose a team after 2 years that is such a big name and a big customer, you just have to move on. Like, you just can't dwell on it, and you learn from it, you fix it, and then you move forward and you do better the next time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and the fact that you guys early on recognized what you were good at, and then you focused on being good at that.
Oh, yeah.
With sports.
Well, and that's
You see a lot of these companies, and I won't name any,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of companies that try to be good at everything, and you guys are what I would call like the In-N-Out burger of texting. You have a very simple, straightforward menu, and you do it really well.
Mark that up. That's good marketing right there. I like it. No, absolutely. I mean, I have investors come and talk to me every day, literally every day, and tell me, why are you guys so narrowly focused? Like, if you want to become $1 billion brand and raise money, you got to do this and that. I'm like, raising money is a means to an end. Like, I don't need to raise money. I'm going to focus. I'm going to do what we do well, and we're going to win, and we're going to bring money in that way, and that's how we're going to like build this business. So, again, to each their own. People do what they want the way they want to do, but we will stay laser focused, and we will not try to be everything to everyone, because I don't think that's how you build a successful brand.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, let's open it up to the audience.
Hey, Ben, thanks for coming today. I've got two questions. The first one, answer or don't, I don't care, but I'm curious, do you think we're going to see, particularly in the minors, more Savannah bananas come along from an approach to sport commingled with entertainment? And then secondly, you said that you're sports and entertainment from the standpoint of like a Savannah Bananas, or like entertainment acts, like a, Whitney Houston, or, whatever rock group it might be today. Are you doing that side as well, or is it just sports today?
Yeah, so first question. In the minor leagues, I don't see a lot more. I know Jesse, great guy, very, very unique approach. Besides the Harlem Globetrotters, there hasn't been another Savannah Bananas, but that's what they're becoming, right? And it's been wildly successful. The powerful thing about, and what they didn't have at the time, is when you're an affiliate of an MLB team, everything in the dugout, which is the most expensive part of a minor league team, is paid for by the MLB teams. So you're literally all about everything but what's in the dugout, salaries and whatnot. So I don't think you're going to see a lot more of that. Savannah had just come through a pretty interesting course of history, so Jesse decided to go that route. Been wildly successful, but I don't think you'll see another one of those. On the entertainment side, I'm talking more of festivals, movie theaters. Megaplex works with us here locally. Those types of things. Live entertainment, Broadway. Yeah.
So you have a pretty technical offering, but I don't think history and banking probably gave you a lot of technical expertise. So I'm curious to know kind of some of the origins of how you kind of saw the opportunity, and how you maybe put together your original team, or how you compiled some of that to be able to kind of deliver some of these technical aspects of what you do.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So in banking, again, I just knew that I didn't want to do banking. So I went over, helped a group through acquisition. It was a nut and candy manufacturer here locally, TCBY, Mrs. Fields. There wasn't any technical element of that either. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I just want to do tech. Like, it's fun. So I surrounded myself. I have a huge, besides the man who he was, I believe in his business philosophies of Steve Jobs. And he says, we don't hire people, smart people, to tell them what to do. We hire them to let them tell us what to do. And so my whole philosophy was to hire good people. I had a vision. I knew of what I thought could help the market. I didn't know how to build it. So I went and surrounded myself with good people that knew how to build it. And I just said, this is what we need to do. This is how we need to build it. And we've had a great tech team ever since. But I don't take any credit for it.
Hey, Ben, this is a fascinating subject for me. I operate a junior hockey team here in Salt Lake. We're moving it to Park City. As a customer of yours, our Park City building will be a Ticketmaster building. as a customer of yours, will your database in, let's say, certain zip codes in Wasatch County, Summit County, be available to me if we hire you to promote tickets and merch and stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question. So no, we are not. So FCC regulation, again, we cannot provide the database. What we help you do is we help you compliantly build your database. Or if you have a current database, we help you get the proper opt-in on your current database while building your database, and then you use our system to communicate to your database.
With the Ticketmaster deal, I get 2 million emails a year. I don't have 2 million people that have a business. Is that something you can work and co-labor with Ticketmaster in pumping stuff out through our database?
Yeah, as long as we can get a phone number on the front end of it, 100%. Yep.
Oh, I don't really know about sports very much unless it's English football, so forgive me. But my question, and it's more curiosity, but what are your thoughts on this sort of Ticketmaster, Live Nation sort of debacle that we're faced with? I mean, they seem to have, the market. I mean, you go to Ticketmaster, I know you buy tickets for a concert or something like that, and all of a sudden it's $50, and by the time you're done, it's like $80. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I've had two different feelings on this. I actually see, as an entrepreneur and as somebody that's competitive, I see a place in the market to displace Ticketmaster. Nobody, in my opinion, has done it the right way, and so shame on us as entrepreneurs that we haven't attacked it. I do think it's better for the industry to break them up so that the monopoly's not there. They are so powerful. They have so many resources, so much money. In the pay-to-play landscape that sports and entertainment is, it's really hard to break into that market. But I do think there's strategic ways that somebody could compete with them and displace them and really kind of break that market up. But it needs to happen. They are too powerful, and that's the bottom line behind it.
So I've got a question. How do you feel about Utah having a soccer team, an NHL team, an NBA team, and a rugby team, and maybe on the horizon an MLB team? Can we handle that?
The MLB team is going to happen. I'm confident, and 100% we can handle it. I'm telling you, we have seen city after city, like literally every sports city I think I've probably been to in the past 5 years of doing this. Utah has the most fanatic fan base out there. There's nobody better than Utah, and I'm not saying that as a homer. I'm saying that as a legit industry in it every day. We will get it, and all of them will be successful. I actually think hockey is going to catapult. The success of what that NHL team is going to do will catapult the MLB team getting here. I think they announced 30,000 deposits. I mean, yeah. Crazy. That's better than some of these large market teams when they get a team. It's unbelievable.
That's awesome. Yeah, you probably know the numbers, and so you're seeing the success already happening.
Oh yeah, we have the populace, and the more Californians and East Coasterners that move in here, it'll just support it even more. I mean, we're getting them twofold, so we'll be fine.
Yeah. Second question: where will Bronny James go play basketball?
Anywhere but Utah. That's all I care about.
Well, if his dad's never actually going to step foot on the court and play here, then yeah, we don't want him either.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting. I was shocked that he stayed in the draft. So as long as it's not here, we need to build. We don't need a splash.
Yeah. I think we got another question up front.
Howdy, I'm from Seattle, but I thought this was an interesting subject. I'm wondering, do you guys also craft the text, like the language that goes into the text? And if so, what has been the most effective pattern you've seen to get responses, get that conversion going?
Yeah, so we have a team within Vozzi that can help you as an organization craft your text and content. We have a text library that we provide to all of our customers, and it's real time, so you can see similar, demographics of your team, your fan base, what they're doing successfully. But ultimately, sports teams have egos, and they don't want anybody touching their marketing, right? So they create their own content, their own marketing. We make sure that we're scrubbing that content so that it's within FCC regulation. But no, they virtually do their own. The most successful that we've seen is when you just offers, right? Like quick impulse buy offers. We had a collegiate team that sent out a text. It cost them, what did Mississippi State's cost them? $1,200. They made $220,000 on one campaign. I mean, it's wild, and that was a like impulse buy. Here's a deal, do it now.
I've noticed, I always look at Google Trends as a way of seeing what people are searching, and it's almost always top 10 are sports teams, and that's crazy to me. I don't watch sports. I love playing them, but I'm not a watcher. And thank you. And what are the things we can learn, and you've learned from sports teams about building that such a strong brand? Because I want to understand how you get that buy-in. It's crazy that they're top 10 every time of trends.
Every time. I mean, this is what's so hard. This is what I love about our industry, but that is almost an impossible question in my opinion. And the reason why is because there's a reason they're called fans, right? Like fanhood, fandom, like they are fanatics. Like that's what they are. I mean, I sit here and watch the Browns as a 38-year-old man with a family of 4, and I'm like, why am I watching a bunch of 20 and 22-year-olds crush each other, and I'm like throwing my remote at my TV? Like, I don't get it.
Well, it's because you're a
understand.
Browns fan.
It's because I'm a Browns fan. But I don't understand. Like, I don't understand myself, like, why I like the Browns, right? So, to me, it's all about continuous engagement and being in front of them and keeping it new and exciting. And if you look at the big brands in America that do this well, they have the same cult followings, right? The Apples of the world, the Chick-fil-A's of the world. It's always exciting. It's good. They deliver a good product. Their service is good. It's to me, that's what you got to do. You got to stay fresh, current, and in front of them, and that's going to kind of build that.
I have 2 questions. The first one, I'm curious to know the size of your team and the composition of the team. And second, what would you say in terms of growth? What's been your biggest pain point of growing your team?
So that's a great question. So our team is, I believe in being small and nimble. I don't believe in using our customers' money or using investors' money for a fancy office or for anything fancy. So a lot of our employees would say, please hire more. I say, do you want bigger commissions? And let's see what more you can do. And so for us, we have a team of 20. We have 15 here in the U.S. We do have a team of 5 offshore that helps with our development and our engineering. We've got, 8 here in Utah. The rest are scattered around the country remote. So we're very nimble. Don't have a lot of FTE, a lot of overhead. That's what we do.
And then in terms of growth, what's been your biggest pain point, would you say?
It's been lack of, I would say, resources. Again, there's this fine line of when do you go and raise money compared to when do you not want to give up a part of your company. And so for me, we have the bandwidth that we have, and we could be growing much faster. But is that the smart thing to do? And that's really been our hindrance, to be honest.
So given your background, Ben, what's the next sport that's going to take off? Team, individual, combo? I have an idea, but I'm curious what you think.
And as weird as this sounds, I think it's going to be pickleball.
Yep.
I'm dead. Like, it is. We work with some of the pickleball associations, and it is fascinating. Again, let's talk about cultish followings. It is from 80-year-olds down to 15-year-olds down to my 8-year-old. Everybody's playing it, and it's a sport for everybody. We're seeing record numbers through their attendance, through their attendees, the athletes that are participating. So I think pickleball is going to be the next big one.
I was going to say the same thing. I've got a friend who his wife plays professional pickleball, and she was at some tournament out on the East Coast last week and got third and won 20 grand.
Oh,
I was like, 20 grand from playing pickleball?
It is insane. Yeah, and their numbers are crazy. I mean, if you look at their growth numbers, their tennis is worried. They're worried.
Well, hey, thanks for coming today. It's kind of fun to think about. From what I know, almost every team in Utah is using your system, and so anytime I get a text, about ticket sales, jerseys, merch, anything, it'll probably be coming through you guys.
It will, except BYU and UVU. So if anybody knows anybody over there, let us know.
we might be able to make some introductions.
Exactly.
Well, hey, thanks for being here, and thanks everybody for coming.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks everybody. Appreciate it.